I want to title this video Graduation Eve. As I prepare to graduate, I was in my bathroom curling my hair. My mom came into the bathroom and she sat down. I didn't know why, but I just continued getting ready. So as I scrambled around, I took my class ring off and I lotioned my hands, and I wanted to make sure that I looked pretty. In my haste, I left my class ring home on the sink of the bathroom. I go to graduation and I'm walking alone, and I get to school and we're on the stage, everything's happening, but I don't see my mother. So my auntie from my father's side and my aunties from my mother's side, they were there. I was the first one of her daughters to graduate. And shortly after they started calling people with the last name beginning with the letter S, my mom walked in. Afterwards, after graduation, everybody's standing around and your friends come over and things like that. So my mother, she reaches out and she hands me a gift. And I look and say, what? Like a gift? Really? And I opened it up in the presence of everyone standing there. Inside the box was my class ring that I paid for. And my auntie on my father's side, she said, oh, that's a beautiful ring. So my oldest sister says, yeah, she bought that a year ago. That's her class ring that she bought a year ago. And they all started, my mom and my sister started to laugh. So my auntie handed me a card. I'll never forget this. And this card had such a beautiful poem on it. On the front, it said, "If for girls." And it encourages girls to dream, to live out loud, to speak their truth, all of these things. And I handed it back to my aunt. I said, I don't want that. And she said, well, what do you mean you don't want it? I said, that's not true. You can't be what you want to be. You can't learn. If you try to learn, people are going to get what I got. So my aunt said, well, what did you get? I said, well, nobody cares about me. I was in a hospital almost 5 years. You never came to see about me. And my aunt was dumbfounded. She said, when were you in the hospital for 5 years? And I told her which hospital. And my auntie begins to weep. So she hands the If for Girls card to my mother. And she says, read this. My mother gave her the card back, rolled her eyes, and walked away. She said, Katrina, your mother never told us anything happened to you, because I would have been at that hospital. And she was just like, I can't believe this. But when she gave the card to my mother and my mother wouldn't read it, I found out why she hated me reading and writing around her, because she was illiterate. She couldn't read or write. Okay, talk about a light bulb moment. And I'm like, is that why? So, as I greeted my guests, and I wanted to take off because I made a promise to walk the same way, and my cap and gown with my tassel turned to the correct side. And I knew my girlfriends and I were getting together and we were going to go out that night. I was like, that's too much for my mind to handle. This night is about me. So as I go home, and that's when everyone saw me and sewed into me and says, just for yourself. So all of these people knew about my mother. They even knew about the guys that would come and write all kinds of ill things about my mother and leave it on her table. because they knew she couldn't read. And they were ridiculing her. Not a good feeling. Not a good feeling at all. So as I embarked to my house, it was pitch black. So there was no graduation party, no cupcakes, no cake, no balloon, nothing. So I went out with my friends. And when I got back home, it was 4 a.m. I rang the bell, but no one would answer. So I slept on the porch that night. But it was okay. Perfectly fine. And now I finally found out what I didn't know as a child. That's why. Go figure. So some of you may have a story like that. I am being as transparent as I can. Why? Because I want people like me to win. To win. So if you feel like you need to reach out and talk to someone and share something with someone, do so. Just do it with the right people. Call the hotline for domestic violence, abuse of any kind, sexual assault of any kind. And just know, it can only get better from there. So I wanted to share that with you. And I'm so grateful. I feel wonderful. I feel good. And you know what? That's because I opened my mouth. So I just encourage you to do the same. Bye now.